Amidst the weeping of the crowd, Mandela's soul attempted to gently soothe every trembling heart. He tried to extend his ethereal hands to comfort these children, only to helplessly pass through the shells of sorrow. He spoke with a heartache, "I hear your sorrow, please do not cry. I am here, with you, my children, I love you." Although a soul should not have tears, a glistening drop slid from the corner of his eye, turning into a wisp of smoke upon touching the cold ground, dissipating into the air. In the sky, flocks of birds silently circled above Mandela's head, while animals around him lay at his feet, gazing at Mandela with mournful eyes, trying in their own way to make Mandela's soul linger a moment longer. As time passed, Mandela gradually became transparent, his cries growing fainter, until his soul completely merged with the wind, vanishing into the land he loved so dearly. At that moment, the crowd seemed to sense something, their gazes turning to the vacant spot, a strange impulse welling up within them. They began to surge towards where Mandela's soul had been, reaching out their hands, yearning to touch a soul that had already disappeared. But it was too late. At that time, a light rain began to fall from the sky, each droplet like tears from the heavens. The roadside trees swayed in the wind, leaves fluttering, as if expressing their reluctance to part. The fierce wind howled, as if in mourning. The circling birds in the sky emitted shrill cries, and the friendly animals let out low, painful roars, their voices echoing in the air, lingering for a long time. As the world's dirge played, people finally realized that the great leader, Mr. Mandela, had truly left them. With Mandela's consciousness gradually becoming clear, he found himself in a chaotic void. Surrounded by endless darkness and silence, only a vague figure appeared dimly ahead. Mandela's heart raced, his footsteps echoing in the void as he ran with all his might until the figure reached out its hands, seemingly seeking an embrace. Mandela's heart was filled with hesitation and unease, for he did not know where he truly was. But as the hands beckoned him with tenderness, he slowly extended his own hands, embracing the figure tightly. In the warmth of the embrace, Mandela's heart gradually calmed. After the embrace ended, the figure gradually dissipated into countless light points. Where the figure had vanished, a beam of light pierced through, illuminating the entire void. Mandela reached out his hand, allowing the dazzling light to caress his palm. As he moved, the chaos began to collapse, turning into countless light points that dispersed into the endless void. Mandela closed his eyes tightly, feeling the surge of space. With a sudden spinning sensation, everything returned to calm, and a gentle voice sounded in his ear, "Hello, Mandela." Mandela trembled as he opened his eyes, his heart filled with shock and awe. For before him was the very God he had believed in all his life, whose kind face and profound gaze brought him immense comfort. Mandela's eyes revealed a deep attachment to the world of humans, his heart filled with complex emotions. He sighed deeply, his voice trembling slightly as he spoke, "Oh, Lord, I think when I arrived here, my mission was complete, but the children I love, my people, they are still struggling for freedom and equality. What should I do?" God's gaze was full of compassion, his voice as gentle as a spring breeze brushing over a lake. "Mandela, your life has been full of pain and sacrifice. But you have lit the torch of hope, which will continue to illuminate the path for the people even after you are gone." Mandela's eyes filled with tears, each drop like the blood of his heart, his body trembling, his voice low and full of longing as he said, "But I want to see them one more time, to do a little more for them. They are still so young. I want to bear a little more for them." God reached out a hand and gently touched Mandela's cheek, turning the tears into stars in the sky. "The seeds of change from your life will grow in places you cannot reach. Your love, your spirit, will always be in the hearts of your people." Mandela took a deep breath, his heart filled with complex emotions. He knew he could not always protect them, the children would eventually leave their parents to continue contributing to this great cause. Slowly, Mandela's soul began to become transparent, his voice gradually fading into the gentle breeze of heaven. His final words were a heartfelt farewell to the world. "Please continue to move forward, my children, may the song of freedom forever resound across the earth." God looked at the place where Mandela had disappeared, a strange smile on the corner of his mouth, full of an indescribable feeling, saying, "You have fought for freedom all your life, and you should also see with your own eyes what the world you desired is like. Go, my child, you will experience it." What Mandela did not notice was that from his birth to his disappearance, the God in front of him seemed to never stop smiling. With a clear cry that broke the tranquility of the hospital, a new life announced its arrival. Mandela felt an unprecedented weakness. His family was eager to hold him but was stopped by the strict words of the nurse, "Family members, you cannot hold him yet. He is too fragile and needs to be placed in the nursery immediately." And his father in this life, a man who did not seem to talk much, chose not to look at him but used all gentle words to comfort his tired mother. Despite his blurred vision, Mandela tried hard to open his eyes. He vaguely saw his parents with smiles at the corners of their eyes, looking in his direction. He could feel his father's gaze, full of love. His mother, despite her fatigue, also tried to give him a smile. A complex emotion surged in Mandela's heart, but at this moment, he was just a newborn, and soon, his consciousness fell into darkness again. Time flies like a white steed passing swiftly, and in the blink of an eye, Mandela was 9 years old. He lay on a soft meadow, basking in the warm sunshine. The surrounding forest was filled with various birdsong and the chirping of insects. The dandelion in his mouth was carried away by a light breeze, floating towards the blue sky. This was his 9th year in this world, and it was not until 3 years ago that his memory fully returned. In these 3 years, he found that the world was completely different from what he remembered, governed by a federal government rather than the country he remembered. "Theodore, come home for dinner." Mandela's mother called from a distance. Yes, this was his name in this world, meaning God's gift. He recalled his name from his previous life, Ralilala, meaning troublemaker, which made him smile. His parents gave him endless love, which made him feel happy. Back at home, Mandela stood by the sink, the clear water gurgling beneath the tap, his thoughts still lingering on the sunshine and freedom of the meadow. In the kitchen, his mother was gently nursing his sister, while his father sat at the dining table, savoring the delicious meal his mother had prepared. Mandela couldn't help but jest, "Dad, eat slower. I haven't finished washing my hands yet." His father looked up, his mouth still full of food, playfully retorting, "You little rascal, that's what you get for basking in the sun and missing lunchtime." Mandela feigned helplessness and sighed, "I really doubt whether my sister and I were born by accident. You two are the real match made in heaven." His mother, hearing this, gently patted his sister's back and playfully scolded, "You silly child, your sister and you are the most precious gifts to your mother. As for your father, well, he's just a glutton." His father feigned a look of grievance at his mother before quickly returning to his meal, as if to say, with such delicious food, how could one not indulge? Mandela smiled, knowing that this was his home, a place full of love, laughter, and a bit of teasing. He and his sister, though they always jokingly claimed to be accidents, were the most irreplaceable existences in their hearts. At the age of 11, Mandela entered the best junior high school in the area. He walked into the classroom with a hint of nervousness and unease, the memory of discrimination due to his skin color still haunting him. However, when he looked up at his classmates, he saw children of various skin colors staring at him with what seemed to be friendly eyes. "Hey, new student, come and introduce your name and hobbies, let's see if we have any common interests." The classmates welcomed him enthusiastically. Mandela felt a harmonious atmosphere, as if he was seeing a class free of racial discrimination, a true family. The teacher said gently, "Class, let's quiet down and give the new student a chance to introduce himself." Mandela stood in front of the classroom, facing a group of enthusiastic new classmates. He took a deep breath, his heart full of nervousness and anticipation. Apologies for the oversight. He knew that this was not just a simple self-introduction, it marked a new beginning for him in this new world. "My name is Theodore," his voice trembled slightly but quickly became firm. "I am 11 years old this year. I enjoy the cool breeze under the shade of trees, feeling the tranquility of nature. I am also passionate about video games, believing that technology can connect different worlds and cultures. He paused for a moment, then continued, I know that each of us comes from different places, with different stories. But I believe we can find common ground in this class and build true friendships. The applause in the classroom was even more enthusiastic than he had expected. Mandela felt an unprecedented sense of belonging. He knew that although his name and past memories did not fit into this world, it seemed that he had found his place. On a sunny afternoon, Mandela was immersed in a deep sleep when a harsh telephone ring shattered the peace. He rubbed his sleepy eyes, inwardly complaining about the inconvenient interruption. Hello, he answered with a hint of displeasure, may I ask who is calling, are you Mandela? The voice is transmitted into the microphone. Mandela's drowsiness vanished instantly, replaced by a chill running down his spine. What do you mean by that? His voice trembled slightly, and beads of cold sweat formed on his forehead. How do you know my name? The voice on the other end was deep and powerful, resonating as if from the abyss. Do you think the truth of this world is as it appears? A utopia without war, strife, discrimination, or oppression? Do you truly believe that humanity can achieve such a harmonious state? Mandela's heart was filled with countless questions. Was there a secret hidden behind this world? Was the person on the other end also a fellow Earthling? His voice was urgent. Who are you? Where do you come from? How do you know my identity? The voice grew even deeper, with a hoarse undertone. Have you ever seen a movie called Annihilation? An unknown life form replaces humans in an almost imperceptible manner. Consider, humans are a naturally combative species, yet in your eyes, they have become so harmonious that not a single shadow of oppression can be found. Is everything too perfect, too unreal? Mandela's heart seemed to be tightly grasped by an invisible hand, stopping his heartbeat. He recalled those warm memories, the smiling faces of his parents, the carefree laughter of his childhood friends, the encouraging words of his teachers, the warmth of his neighbors. Were all these memories just elaborate illusions? His voice trembled with despair. So, my family, they are also fictional. I remember very clearly that they were by my side since the day I was born. They cannot be. However, the voice on the phone continued, with a comforting tone, you need not worry about that. We have been secretly protecting your family, ensuring they have not been replaced by those unknown beings. Because we know that the souls originating from Earth are unique and irreplaceable. This is also the reason why we have chosen to contact you directly. The person's tone became firm and forceful. Comrade Mandela, you have spent your life fighting for racial equality. Now is the time when we need you the most. Our organization brings together compatriots from all over the world, including wise men from China, warriors from the United States, strategists from Russia. They are all eagerly awaiting your return to continue our efforts for human peace. But Comrade Mandela, you must remain vigilant. They are not alien beings. They are more like the ghosts of traditional Chinese folklore, like creatures infected by the Cthulhu mythos, lurking in the shadows. When you are among them, do not reveal your identity. Be careful not to expose that you are still human. When they discover your true identity, they will shed their human skin and tear your soul apart.